Hello and welcome to A Book in 5 Minutes. My name is Lindsay Milner. This week we are looking at a book called The Resilience Factor. Resilience has become a little bit of a buzzword, I think, in personal development, in human resources departments. It's a bit of a current thing that we need to build our resilience. And whilst on one level I feel that this is a little bit of a cop-out on behalf of employers who are sort of thinking it's okay for them to carry on with their not very good business and employment practices, and the problem is that their employees need to get stronger, they need to get more resilient, they need to be better at dealing with problems. But on the other hand, as an individual, if we can build our resilience, then obviously it is something, if we learn to deal with setbacks, if we learn to bounce back from problems and adversity, then it is a good thing for us on an individual level. So with that in mind, is this book a useful read for you? My first thoughts really are that the book itself doesn't really work for me. It's subtitled 7 Keys to Finding Your Inner Strength and Overcoming Life's Hurdles. So it is aimed at a lay audience, but for me it doesn't really work as a self-help book. There's far too much information in there. There's a lot of scattered thinking. There's not an easy sort of step-by-step process that you can follow. There is an assessment in there. You can do the quiz and find out which bits you particularly need to improve on. And the book itself, the authors, it's written by Rievich and Andrew Shatté, which might have an unfortunate pronunciation, I'm not sure, but it does have an accent over the E, which gives me a clue that it should be Shatté. They're researchers at Penn University or Pennsylvania University who have a long history of looking into things related to positive psychology and how to live our optimum life. So it is backed up by research in a lot of ways. I don't think it works as an academic text either, although they have quoted, they have put their research papers in. But for me, this book kind of fails on both fronts. It doesn't quite cut it as a self-help book for a lay audience, and it doesn't really cut it for an academic audience. Just to sort of sum up what resilience is, what the resilience factor is, they say that it depends on 7 factors, and these are things like emotion regulation, impulse control, optimism. 6 of the 7 things are related to your thinking style, empathy and causal analysis. And by causal analysis, they mean if things go wrong, do you say, oh, it's because I'm not good enough, obviously, I'm no good at this particular thing, it's my fault, or do you blame external forces? What's your explanatory style? Do you explain problems within you, or do you blame something on the outside? And obviously the reality is usually it might be one, it might be the other, but it's instead of saying, oh, it's because I'm no good, you need to think, well, where did I go wrong? How can I improve for next time? What can I do to make things better? If there's genuinely nothing, if it was out of your control, then let it go. So they are key useful thinking styles that you can adapt. The 7th thing is reaching out, so that's about your social connectedness. Now, I'm not opposed to any of these concepts. I think all of these concepts are really useful concepts for us to improve and to get better on. And I'm quite enthused to find something called self-efficacy. And at first, I didn't really get what that meant, but actually it's to do with belief. It's to do with whether you believe that you have the capacity to do something or not. It's not quite confidence, but it's kind of verging on, do you believe that you can succeed or not? The book has got some tips in there about how to improve some of these things, but for me, it doesn't really sort of go into them well enough to be able to assess and say, this is where I need to improve. This is what I can do to improve in that area. It's a bit of a heavy read for that. And the thinking is a bit too scattered. For example, it says 7 things, but then the chapters, there isn't a chapter on each of those things. The things that you have to do are not called improve your emotion regulation or improve your impulse control. Instead, it's called things like challenge your beliefs and what's another one? Detect icebergs. So for detecting icebergs, they mean what are the underlying beliefs? What are the things that the inner conflicts that you might have? So the thinking in there it's just too scattered for me, and I felt that it didn't really work. If you're particularly interested in resilience, maybe give it a read. I'm not sure I would say, yeah, rush out and buy this now. You really need to read this to improve your resilience. So that's my verdict. Let me know, have you read it? Have you thought about resilience? Have you thought about some of these other concepts like optimism and impulse control and self-efficacy, for example? What do you think? I'll be interested to see your views. So that is the Resilience Factor, 7 keys to finding your inner strength and overcoming life's hurdles. And it's written by Karen Rievich and Andrew Shatté. Until next time, bye.